The surge in the crypto markets in the past few days can be attributed to several factors driving renewed investor optimism and heightened interest in digital assets. Now, despite facing challenges in 2023 due to the global economic conditions, the market has demonstrated resilience and bounced back strongly. While inflation didn't directly impact the previous slump, other macroeconomic factors definitely played a significant role. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Analytics Insight, where we talk about the ever evolving technology space. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. Now, recent developments such as approval of the Bitcoin spot or exchange traded funds by the US Securities and Exchange Commission and the upcoming Bitcoin halving event have injected substantial investments into the market, bolstering the overall sentiment around cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrencies can be used in a widely held, actively traded investment products that's very common to many individual portfolios. But does that mean it's finally time to jump into the cryptocurrency pool? Now, today with us, we have Mr. Edul Patel, CEO and co-founder of Mudrex, a global crypto investing platform. Hi, Edul, how are you doing?
Hi Priya, loving it. Great to be here.
Glad. We're really glad to have you with us on a podcast since we are going to discuss about the elephant in the room, I would say probably cryptocurrency. So let's kickstart, by telling more about, your organization, what does it do, and the services or the specialization it deals into.
Got it, absolutely. So Mudrex is a crypto investing platform. We are a global product that's available across geos, and a vast majority of our user base, although does come from India. Uh, Mudrex as a product focuses on helping users invest in crypto in a much more seamless and easier way. Our focus is on making sure users have the right research, the right information so that they can make their investing choices with more confidence. You can use Mudrex to invest in over 500 different tokens. Apart from that, our main product that users love a lot and that also differentiates us from everyone else is a product called as CoinSets. Uh, CoinSets is loosely modeled along the lines of mutual funds, but for crypto. So, for example, there is a CoinSet called as Crypto Blue Chip, which is similar to Nifty 50, or there is a CoinSet called as Small Cap Tracker, which is similar to a small cap index. So, I guess you get the gist, right? Using products like CoinSets and products like Coins, and also a research-driven, information-led investment product, users are able to invest at scale on Mudrex. Today, we have close to 1 million users on our platform, and our AUM and user base both continues to grow fairly rapidly.
Glad to know about Mudrex. And, if I talk about cryptocurrency 10 years back, maybe it was definitely like a very new concept in the USA or, in the other countries of the world. Now, when we talk about India, can you tell us what inspired the creation of your global crypto investing platform? And if you can also highlight your role towards the company.
Got it. So we started building Mudrex in 2018, and the idea was, or the thought process came in from the fact that in 2017, when we were leaving our jobs and were exploring other opportunities, um, maybe I can just re-answer this question from the scratch, right? I can add some of my history and then I can give more details.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So as I was saying, yeah, so definitely would love to answer that question. But before that, let's talk about a bit of our history. So I graduated IIT Bombay 2011. Post that, went to Deutsche, worked over there for a couple of years in the trading and risk teams. Left Deutsche in 2013 to start my first startup, built that for a couple of years, raised $1 million, exited that company to a company called as Tabzo, joined Tabzo, became head of product there, scaled that for the next 3 years. And Tabzo eventually got acquired by Amazon in 2017. I personally didn't want to go to Amazon and was more focused on building a product that would help people get access to better and better financial services at lower and cheaper costs. When we started to dwell into that, we realized that one of the main reasons why access to such financial services are not available is because simply it's just too expensive to offer them to a vast majority of people. And we felt that one of the main reasons that's causing that inefficiency is the fact that data is logged into different participants and so on and so forth. At that point, read the Bitcoin white paper, read a bit about Ethereum, and realized that the real power of crypto is opening up this access in a secure manner. And as a result, what it will do is that it will reduce the cost of accessing financial services world over. Loved the idea, fell in love with the entire ecosystem, and decided to build something in crypto that would help people get access to crypto more and more and more. And with that mission and vision, we started off in 2018. Um, Crypto, as you know, is a global asset class. It's probably one of the first global asset classes after, let's say, something like a gold or a commodity. And and as a result, the problems of users wanting to invest in this asset class are actually very similar world over. And hence, the idea from day zero was that we should build something that's global, that solves for users' problems globally and enables access to crypto in a more global manner.
It's so fascinating to hear about your journey and, of course, what inspired the creation of Mudrex. Now, cryptocurrency inspires passionate opinions across a spectrum of investors. Now, some supporters like the fact that cryptocurrency removes central banks from managing the money supply, since over time these banks tend to reduce the value of money through inflation. Now, some cryptocurrencies also offer their owners the opportunity to earn passive income through a process called staking. Now, this is something that probably I'm aware of, or a couple of other people who are like crypto geeks or learners. They know about all of these things and the benefits probably that cryptocurrency offers. So, I wanted to understand what are your views on the current crypto index investing, especially in India.
Correct. So let's, just talking about value that cryptocurrency offers. At the end of the day, that technology can be used in many different ways. And the core value that it tries to offer is that no single person has complete control and no single person or no single platform captures the entire value that the platform creates. That's that's essentially what blockchain tries to solve for in a very unique and trustless manner. Uh, Coming back to just investing in crypto, of course there are various different tokens today that exist, and these are tokens not just that are doing something out of thin air. All of these are basically businesses that are trying to add different formats of value. For example, there is the protocol called as Ethereum, where Ethereum acts like a world computer, and basically the service or the product that it's selling is compute space. Similarly, there is a protocol called as Aave, where the Aave is trying to sell lending borrowing. There is a protocol called as Helium, which is actually trying to sell network access, like what Airtel or Jio or maybe a Vodafone sells, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of now projects that have come to maturity that are large businesses in themselves, that are generating revenue, that are profitable, and that are scaling up. So crypto is now no longer something that was just in the dreams. It is a space where the early startups created in crypto have now matured to become large and valuable businesses. And I think that really talks about how the ecosystem has evolved and how quickly it has grown and come to this size and scale. Coming to investing in individual tokens, of course, it's very important for everyone to do their own research before they invest. And doing research is hard. I agree with that as well. And as a result, if someone just wants to broadly invest, what they should do is they should invest in an index. And typically, if you want to take like a directional bet on the crypto market and say that, okay, the crypto market is going to grow and it's going to be large and meaningful and valuable, then you might as well invest in the blue chip tokens, right? And for that, we've got a coin set called as crypto blue chip that you can conveniently invest in as well.
Right. I very much liked your statement when you said that cryptocurrency is not just like a dream now. It's a very legit what do we say, like a technological product or an innovation that we are observing, and as well as businesses around the world or startups around the world are trying to build value out of it. Like on the other hand, I feel the importance of education in driving cryptocurrency adoption cannot be overstated. Now, as the cryptocurrency market continues to expand and evolve, so too does the need for comprehensive and accessible education on the subject. For example, I am not a person who wouldn't have like a proper access to education with regards to cryptocurrencies. I've been reading articles or I've been writing some of them as well, and that's where and when I've tried to gain knowledge about cryptocurrency and also tried to invest in it. But the current state of cryptocurrency education is like a mixed bag, like with a variety of resources available, but a clear need for a more structured and widespread education initiative is still lacking, I feel. Now, misinformation and scams are also prevalent, making it very difficult for newcomers to distinguish between reliable and unreliable sources. So, how would you approach educating and empowering users to make informed investment decisions within the crypto space, considering you being the CEO of a global crypto platform? And how do you, usually guide people or newcomers in terms of making informed decisions?
Correct. So I 100% agree to this, Priya. I think that education is the biggest challenge that the crypto industry faces, simply because
Mm-hmm.
of two thought processes. Firstly, just educating users about financial services, educating users about investing itself is a big challenge, right? Even today, one of the largest problems is mis-selling of stocks, mis-selling of funds, and so on and so forth. And as a result, a lot of people do get scammed not only in crypto but in equities as well. And investing is the same, it's just a different asset class, right? So the financial information and education problem is a general problem that needs to be solved, and it's a very large and big problem. But then when we come to the subset of crypto, this becomes an order of magnitude larger issue, because there is no clear single place where you can get access to insights, no clear place where you can do research, and so on and so forth, right? And if someone wants to do it by themselves, they have to do a lot of effort to go into different places and find credible sources to do this. At Mudrex, we've taken this very seriously, and over the last few years, we've run various different initiatives to solve for this problem. We started off by creating an academy kind of a product where users could go read up on articles about investing, read up on articles about crypto, read up on articles about blockchain and the technology, and so on and so forth, so that they can get a better base level understanding. This gives a good base to users. We launched a product called as Satoshi GPT, which was a chatbot that can help users conversationally answer their questions and queries regarding crypto. And then just about 8, 9 months ago, we launched a feature called as Mudrex Insights, which in my opinion is probably the most handy tool that a crypto investor can get. Because what we do over here, Priya, is that we essentially look at the entire web, and then for any given token, summarize all activity for that given token or coin into three simple pieces. We give them a score on fundamental ratings, we give them a score on technical ratings, and we give them a score on sentiment ratings. Across these three, a user is able to get a really good start to what kind of tokens that they would want to look at, how do they invest in it, and so on and so forth. So that's one very important thing that we built. Of course, getting access to news and information at the right time is necessary. So that's also something that we've tried to incorporate into Mudrex. And I think across these things, we've essentially wanted to create a reliable base that users can use to get information before they invest. Otherwise, what happens is that they just end up looking at random family WhatsApp groups and start investing from there, right? And that's not a really a good place to start off going. So those are some of the things that we've done, and I still think we've only barely scratched the surface. There is just so much that you can do to continue to enhance investor information and investor knowledge, and there is just really no limit to it. And it's just day one for us as such today.
Definitely. And well, thank you so much for sharing the couple of initiatives that you have taken at Mudrex in terms of educating and creating awareness regarding cryptocurrency. Now, that was one challenge that probably we discussed with regards to cryptocurrency adoption is the lack of education. Now, another obstacle that I feel is the lack of faith in the technology itself. Now, there are numerous myths and misunderstandings surrounding cryptocurrencies in addition to a lack of awareness. Now, some individuals think that only illicit activities use cryptocurrencies, while others think that they are merely a speculative bubble. Now, the adoption of any new technology, including cryptocurrencies, heavily depend on consumer trust. Now, people are likely to trust cryptocurrencies more as they learn more about them and how they operate. So I think this question is somehow interlinked with our earlier questions that once you learn more about it, and probably you tend to have more faith in it. So how can you change a user's perspective or an attitude towards recognizing crypto as an alternative asset class?
Correct. So absolutely right, Priya. In fact, I also personally ended up learning after I ended up investing. So what I
Right.
typically recommend people to do is that the first thing that they should do is that if they are curious, they should start small. They should start with a
Mm-hmm.
small token amount and get used to the asset class, get familiar with the platform. And today there are as such over 200 million users world over who are actively investing in crypto. That's a large number.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you yourself probably know someone who is doing something in crypto. If not, there are lots of resources that we've been putting in. But if you're interested, you start small. You start with maybe a couple of thousand rupees. You play around with both the platform and you play around with the different tokens. You try and understand what works for you, what doesn't work for you, whether the volatility is something that suits you or not. And then slowly and steadily over time continue to build your own portfolio. there is no rush, there is no point in jumping in early. People should understand that the entire crypto ecosystem is like the startup ecosystem. It is barely 10 years old. Some of the top companies are barely 4 5 years old inside of crypto. So it's all very early. And as a result, because it's early, there will be volatility, there will be uncertainty, and all of this will get adjusted and solved for. But it's important to start somewhere, because once you get started, you understand the ecosystem, you understand what's going on, and that helps build confidence more than anything else. Listening to any number of podcasts or conversations or talks will not build confidence as much as just putting in 1,000 rupees in Bitcoin and then seeing and living through that volatility journey.
Right, very well said. I think that's really important in terms of shifting our attitude towards crypto as an alternative asset class. Now I'm probably going to highlight on a very important aspect that you also mentioned in your earlier responses about the higher volatility of cryptocurrency. Now, a lot of people come and ask me, and even I was amongst them, where I would ask, is cryptocurrency safe? Now, the answer to how safe cryptocurrency actually is, at least for now, I feel is very complicated. Yes, cryptocurrency has a certain security risk that one should definitely know before making their first investment. Now, firstly, crypto is still an extremely volatile asset class, prone to some roller coaster fluctuations in price, I would say. And second, it is I wouldn't say relatively new, but still gradually becoming more like a mainstream in a very unregulated financial ecosystem, where a lot of scammers are still trying to prey on unsuspecting newcomers as well. Now, I'm sure crypto definitely has some amazing benefits and that makes it appealing. But on the other hand, there are certain security risks associated with as well. So, what measures does your platform take to ensure transparency and trust amongst its users, particularly in an industry which is known for its high volatility?
Correct. So you should, when you talk about safety, security, and risk in crypto, there are actually, in my opinion, two layers to it. The
Right.
first layer is the actual platform layer. So basically, what tool, what product are you using to invest in?
Mhm.
And the real problem is that most people end up losing money because of this issue, not because of the fact that price is volatile. People end up putting in money in some scammy website that they got on Telegram. People end up putting in money on platforms that are unregistered with local bodies. People end up putting in money with platforms that have been just started and are advertising false claims and so on and so forth, right? So those are the main issues that end up happening with people. And that's why I think the first recommendation is that if you're investing in India, you should invest on some FIU registered entity. FIU is a body under the Ministry of Finance where all crypto companies who are basically operating in the crypto space need to comply and register with. So that's why the first thing to do is make sure that you are working with an FIU registered entity, and Mudrex is one such entity amongst 20, 30 others. The second thing that's important is that whenever you are investing in a platform like this, you make sure that, as I said earlier, you start slowly, understand whether you're able to deposit easily or not, understand whether you're able to withdraw easily or not, and make those checks and balances and see if everything is kosher on that front. If you're just able to do these two things and these two things well, a vast majority of problems are solved for. Then comes the price risk, which is the volatility that a lot of times other people talk about. In reality, Priya, the volatility of crypto or the price risk of crypto has only been reducing over time. And even today, if you look at the risk reward of investing in crypto and investing in, let's say, Nifty 50, the risk reward is very similar, which means that Nifty is less risky, but it gives you less reward. Having said that, Bitcoin is more risky and it gives you more reward. And I would actually argue that over the last 3 years, the risk reward of Bitcoin is better than Nifty. So if you were to invest X amount in Nifty and let's say invest X by 5 in Bitcoin, you would probably make better returns for the same level of risk. So from a risk reward perspective, from a volatility perspective, the asset class is maturing and coming to a place where it is now something that a lot of people want to keep a part of their portfolio. And actually, that's one of the main reasons why the entire Bitcoin ETF thing also happened right now. It was that volatility of Bitcoin had come to a level where it was fairly stable and institutions wanted to put in money. And in order for institutions to put in money, you need a safe, secure platform or a pathway through which they can invest. And ETF solves for that problem. So ETF solves for the platform problem, and Bitcoin is already solved for the volatility problem. And as a result, most institutions are now looking to park 2 to 5% of their wealth in crypto.
Yes, thank you so much for helping us understand, the different layers that you spoke about in terms of price and basically the platform that you might be using in terms of making your investment. And I also agree with your point that way back, I guess the price volatility issue was quite high compared to what we have now. So definitely, I think that's a very good shift that probably we are going to see in terms of adoption of cryptocurrency, and I think especially in India. Now, despite some moves, like a lot of outside the countries, outside India, in other countries, a lot of moves have been taken in order to regulate cryptocurrencies. But this did still remain less regulated, I feel, compared to other asset classes. Now, if a platform that exchanges or holds your crypto assets goes bankrupt, there's a risk that you could lose all your capital. Now, similarly, your assets could be at risk if an exchange holding your crypto is hacked by criminals. Now, also, I feel like cryptocurrency taxation is still in its infancy, and future changes could have ramifications for your investments as well. So this becomes quite tricky and also quite hold back a couple of people in terms of investing in cryptocurrency. So how does a platform balance innovation along with risk management to provide like a very secure investment experience for its users?
Correct. So, firstly, actually, it's a misnomer that cryptocurrency is less regulated. I mean, sure, there is
Hmm.
no regulator of crypto today, but the
Right.
compliances that crypto companies need to follow are actually very high. Since
Hmm.
March last year, when the reporting to FIU started, every crypto company now needs to do complete KYC, complete AML, monitor every single transaction. They need to have complete information about where the money came in and where is it going out. That's the level of compliance that banks and payment gateways do. In fact, crypto companies are actually supposed to do more. So, from a regulatory or a reporting perspective and from a compliance perspective, actually, crypto companies are doing as much, or in a lot of cases, much more than what traditional platforms are doing. Right? So, that's the first part. The second part is you are right that if a crypto company goes bankrupt, then users are liable to lose their money. But that also happens with a bank. We've seen that in the past when banks undergo bank runs, they also end up losing money and they are protected by an RBI insurance, but only up to 5 lakhs. So that's the second part, right? So from those lenses, investing is not very different from, let's say, investing in a bank and so on and so forth. Having said that, as Mudrex being the platform that is custodying users' assets, we follow and we need to make sure that we are holding the highest standards at our end. And for holding the highest standards, we make sure that the custody is in safe custodians, which is insured. So, for example, Mudrex custodies assets with multiple different custodians. So there is no one single entity risk. And most of those custodians also have an insurance with themselves. Some custodians have an insurance of up to $100 million. And that protects users' funds from, let's say, hacks or thefts or sudden price volatility movements and so on and so forth, right? So that's the first part. The second part is that there needs to be a lot of kind of sort of internal thought process on security and compliance. And this includes data security, this includes access controls, this includes other sorts of compliance layers that needs to be put in, right? So, for example, Mudrex is applied for an ISO 2001, sorry, 27001 compliance, and that's also something that we'll likely get in the next couple of months or so. That puts us as the same level of security compliance that banks put in for their data and their security. So, all of these things are what platforms need to do and platforms should be doing. And I agree that not everyone tries to follow this, but some companies that do tend to eventually stand out and do tend to eventually capture most of the market because eventually users realize what are good platforms and not and move to those.
Right. I think it's very important in terms of also checking out the kind of platform you're using to invest in cryptocurrencies because that matters a lot too, I believe. Now, just like a very follow-up question to my previous questions. Now, we were talking about providing like a secure experience. So, how do you ensure even data privacy and security at Mudrex? Because I believe data is also very critical component in terms of cryptocurrency investment for you guys, for like a platform a company who is offering their platform for people to invest in cryptocurrency. How do you
Yeah,
ensure that? Yeah,
these are no longer questions of someone is not optional anymore in the world that
yeah,
we're living in. India has a data privacy
right,
protection law. We are Mudrex is a compliant virtual asset service provider in Europe as well, where GDPR has been there live for the
yeah,
last couple of years. So these are just basically checks that you need to follow, and you need to follow and make sure that it gets done. And the only way that you verify it is there is a third party separate auditor that comes and says that, okay, have you done the compliances or not? That's it. So there are a list of compliances. They need to be followed. They are audited by a third party auditor. Mudrex does. Mudrex does all of this.
Great.
Yeah. And I mean, I can of course go into the details, but these are just standards that everyone needs to follow now, because these standards are now applicable to everyone who is not only doing crypto but any kind of data access or data sharing.
Right. But do you believe that while we are complying with these regulations, it does help in creating like a very a secure environment or ensures data privacy?
Of course, and I think it's more important from a user trust perspective. Like, you can leave alone everything else. At the end of the day, your user, your consumer is trusting you with not only their assets but also their data. And data needs to be stored in a very secure format, right? So it's a matter of user trust. So even if there would have been no compliance, we would have still gone ahead and made sure that we do this to the best of our ability, simply because user trust is so hard to build and it's very easy to break. And you don't want issues like this to ruin and tarnish your reputation at the end of the day. Investment platform, right? We are someone who a person is trusting with their money, and as a result, trust is of paramount importance to us. Everything else can wait. It's okay if we don't have two products. It's okay if our user experience is slightly slower, but it's not okay if their data is not secure. It's not okay if their assets are not secure.
Very true, very true. I think that's very important. And it becomes like, the trust is something that cannot be broken, especially with when somebody's investing their money. So you have pointed out very rightly. And I think that's why cryptocurrencies are also gaining popularity. Like, I think more media outlets are also emphasizing them, and more establishments are taking them as like a payment option as well. Now, this widespread acceptance is a certain indicator of its rising adoption as well. So now people are also more inclined to invest in cryptocurrencies as they've become more known and understood. And slowly, as education initiatives by the government or by other institutions are also ramping up, I think people will be more inclined in investing towards cryptocurrencies. So this also may result in market capitalization and liquidity as well. Now, what advice would you like to give to individuals who are entering into the world of cryptocurrencies, and how can your platform support them in their journey?
Correct. So I think from an advice perspective, see, what will happen, or what typically happens, is that every market cycle, new people come in. And what it looks like from looking at numbers is that we are entering the 5th crypto market cycle in the last 14 years now. And with every cycle, it always happens that it starts off with older people coming in, those people starting to make money again, those people then telling this to other new users, and then those new users slowly and steadily adding their funds, right? But what is important is that in all of this, to firstly not lose out on the larger picture. Crypto is still very early. It will still take many years for it to mature and become as large as the equities and so on and so forth, right? So anyone and everyone who's investing today needs to invest firstly from the long-term perspective. If you're looking at it from a very short-term perspective, you're likely to lose your money and go. So first piece of advice or just feedback is that you should look at it from a long-term perspective. The second piece is that what someone should do is start small, because typically what happens is that you see someone else made money and then you would want to suddenly make a lot of money. So you say that, okay, chalo, I'll borrow some funds, or I'll take a bank loan, or I'll put in, let's say, a large amount of capital that you should ideally not be risking to an asset class like this so early. So start small, start with a couple of thousand. Once you are in, get comfortable with the asset class, get comfortable with a platform like Mudrex, understand how money moves in, understand how money goes out, understand the nuances and terms, and then slowly and steadily add funds. Typically try and add funds in a recurring manner. Everyone has been pitching SIPs, and the reason why SIPs is such a great pattern of investing is because it helps you avoid the timing risk. Then no one asks the question कि मैं कब invest करूँ. It's just about regularly invest करते रहो, right? So that's a very important piece, that you should start small, build confidence, invest regularly and consistently, and you can do all of this through a platform like Mudrex, where we not only offer you this, but we also offer you detailed research, detailed insights, information about when you can enter, when you can exit, and of course a lot of tools like stop loss, take profit, buy the dip, and so on and so forth to manage your risk as well. That's what you need when you in a platform when you're starting off. And all of these are the things that Mudrex provides.
Glad for sharing your advice, Idul. Now, one last question would be, what are your views on the future of crypto investing?
I think it's very bright and it's only going to grow. And we are still in the early days. And this will continue to grow and evolve as not only the country matures, more and more people understand financial services, but also as the technology matures. What everyone talks about is how prices of Bitcoin are moving. No one really talks about the rate at which the technology is improving. And it just blows my mind that every single day the amount of innovation that's happening in this space. Crypto is really the cutting edge of the rate at which financial innovation is happening. And that is actually really what excites me. And to be honest, I feel that over the next 5 years, more and more and more financial services will move to crypto. And the Bitcoin ETF was just a start of this.
Right. Well, hoping to definitely see financial institutions moving to cryptocurrencies, and we are all hooked by each other with the use of technology that cryptocurrency is built on. Now, whether one invests in individual cryptocurrencies or derivative products depends on their goals, risk tolerance, and other investing consideration, just as it would be with any other asset or security. Now, a cautious approach can help you avoid some of the dangers most commonly associated with cryptocurrency. Nevertheless, cryptocurrencies are definitely growing, and I don't think they're going to slow down. But on the way, I think along the way, there's plenty a lot to learn about cryptocurrency, and that's how probably you can be involved in this landscape of cryptos. Well, thank you so much, Edul. It was pleasure having you with us today. I think you have highlighted some very important aspects related to cryptocurrencies and how we can create more awareness around it, and how people can adopt a systematic approach in terms of investing in cryptocurrency.
Great. Thanks for having me here, Priya. Great having this chat with you.
Great. Definitely. So this is for our listeners. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Stay tuned for upcoming podcasts, and you can view all of our previous podcasts on Spotify. Thank you so much.